Wow, go on, Mr. Maps.
Yo, what's the story?
Nah, everything swell as usual, my G. We're alive and blood clot kicking.
That's the only way to do it, man. You gotta keep pushing day by day. Oksalayo, we all have the same 24 hours.
Of course, standard thing. UG?
Yeah, no, I'm alive. Can't complain at all. I'm enjoying, my brand new 80-inch TV. Don't ask me where I got it from. Life is just good. I'm just blessed,
You got that Samsung wall to wall.
Yeah, man, wall to wall, SMEG, all of that.
Don't remember to keep the receipt though.
There's no returns on this one, unfortunately. Warranty is null and void on this one. But no. Life is alright. Can't complain. Welcome back, guys. It's another episode of 6 Foot Weights. This is your podcast with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Tabo.
And my name is Senna.
And yeah, we're back, and we're going to discuss a whole host of topics. It's going to be a fun one. I'm very excited. We're going to go all around the spectrum. What you guys love us for, what we do, I think what we do best, hopefully. But we can go straight and transition into the housekeeping. Not too much on my side. Guys, you know what I'm going to say. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Lindo really came through with cool visuals for the Fast and Furious ranking that we did. So again, if you haven't seen, or if you've just seen Fast and Furious 9, you can go onto the YouTube channel and watch our review where we ranked all the movies and we talked a little bit about our experiences watching Fast 9. So yeah, shout out to Lindo on that. Much more cool content that's coming. And I think that's it on my side. On your side, Mr. Moyo?
Yeah, basically the same. Big ups to Lindo. Thank you so much for putting that on. I think we spoke about it, and we're just gonna try interesting stuff with the YouTube. Put together a couple other things. So yeah, man. So keep watching the thing that we do, and we're going to be pushing more content. And special thanks to everyone who read IP Thursday last week. That was the thread on. What was that Tabo that I did?
The IP thread?
The IP Thursday from last week.
It was
about Empire.
Oh yes.
How there's a guy who actually alleges that the whole Empire series is based on his life and his autobiography. So he says Terrence Howard stole his idea, and then they ran with it. So thanks to everyone who read that and checked it out. It was really encouraging. Also, I get surprised when I read up on the stuff, and I'm always like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So there'll be another thread this week, so stay tuned. And another special thanks to everyone who's shared, liked, and donated to Vubelo's GoFundMe. I think she's managed to raise just about over half the required fees. So special thanks to everyone who shared, liked, contributed. From my understanding, I think she's also got an extension from the university. So continue to share, continue to like, continue to, contribute whatever amount that you can. Also send kind words of encouragement. this is one of our own. Like Tabo said last week, we all have, if we have anything nice that we can do in this world, anything good that we can give, at least let's put it towards the right people, and yeah, that's all I have from my side.
There's actually one thing that I have to bring up on as well. So my Sena, where did you go to your local preschool?
Queen Elizabeth.
Exactly.
On
so did I. I went to
which is crazy because I don't remember you being at Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah.
But obviously.
But until now, in A stream, and you weren't in A stream. No, I'm kidding. We probably, again, assuming we're in the same year, which we probably were. I just think, I guess we probably bumped into each other. We just, we're kids.
Yeah. So the thing is, I was a bit of a senior because I was there since I was like 3. I was a bit of a preschool.
I have no memory. I have no recollection of Queen Elizabeth. Like, I barely remember.
Really?
I remember Children's House, but I don't know. It was just so.
Wait, when did you go to Children's House?
I have no clue. I don't know the ages. I don't know. I just know that I went to Children's House.
You've got 2 years of nursery school, right? So you've got year 4 and year 5. So when you're 4 and when you're 5, that's when usually you go to preschool. I went to Queen Elizabeth from when I was 3, so 3, 4, and 5. And then I remember Mtobo specifically was a Children's House. So we went to different preschools. He was just down the road.
Yeah.
But then when we then went to Milton, we went to Children's House only like for play, like at the end of the day, like daycare. So are you telling me that you went to Queen Elizabeth?
Yeah.
I don't remember you. You then went to Children's House.
Yeah.
Mtogo probably also wouldn't remember you.
No. Probably
Tawangani, your life is a bit of a there's things that aren't adding up.
Anyway, before we go too deep into my life, no, I have no clue. But anyway, guys, what I wanted to bring to the table here to the people is that again, Queen Elizabeth is probably a school that a lot of people listening to this podcast is they probably went there at some point in their lives, or they've one way or the other been involved with that particular school. And it's again, as people know, it also is an orphanage. So there are children who are taken care of there. And my cousin Nomonde Nyati, she volunteered there in terms of part of her summer internship. And
shout out to Nomonde.
They've started a GoFundMe page because obviously, again, Zim is Zim, and the school is also in need of supplies. They need money to repair the swings for the kids, and a bunch of other stuff. So they've started a GoFundMe. The target is $5,000. As of right now, they've raised about $400. So what we're gonna do is, again, if you have those anything at all that you can spare, donate, because obviously this is much like Bubelo, this is a very, very worthy cause. This is something that is important for it's especially in this time of COVID and stuff like that. We want to make as many spaces as possible a good place for kids to be there and grow up, and so yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that they need. It's not just groceries, it's not just basic amenities, anything, and this money will go a long way in helping make sure that these kids are in the best care possible. So what I will do is the link on Twitter that we normally use to post the episode, at the bottom I'll also post a link to the GoFundMe, so you can click on that and then what's this thing called, donate. I'll also share on my socials. Senna will share on his, and it will be accessible at least on as many platforms as possible. And if you're a listener that doesn't that doesn't exist on any of the socials, and you really want to donate, you can always just kind of email us, and we can email you the link at 6footweights@gmail.com. And then we'll be more than happy to share that link with you. But it's a worthy cause. So guys, anything that you can spare, let's help them out as much as possible. And shout out to Monde for doing and for putting all of this together.
And just a note on that, like contributing doesn't, necessarily mean that financially that's the end of it. If you feel like you can go to Children's House, I mean, it's on Pararenyatwa Street, right? It's in the middle of town. I mean, to Queen Elizabeth, sorry. It's on it's on Pararenyatwa and 9th Avenue. Where is it?
Yeah, just say isn't it Barrow? Did they rename it?
Yeah, it's close to the Barrow Street pool there. So if you feel like you can just go there, drop something off, be it clothes and any of that stuff, just feel free to go. I mean, if you don't have anything monetary to give, there's always a lot that you can donate, like in terms of your resources. And also just sharing the link to people who might be listening who may have an interest. I always joke, I think I joked last year with Tabo that I didn't know Queen Elizabeth. Why have I always keep saying Children's House? I didn't know Queen Elizabeth. I didn't know Queen Elizabeth actually was an orphanage when I was there for nursery school. Yeah, in my head, they just used to say they were the day scholars and they were the boarders. So day scholars, your parents would come pick you up at 5, whatever it is, and you go home. Yeah. And then I just always thought that, there's boarders who live there. I didn't know that they doubled up as an orphanage. I was like, I only found out
much later.
In upper 6 when I was in junior council and we're fundraising for Queen Elizabeth. I'm like, I went there. That's my nursery school. And the lady from Rotaract comes up to me and she's like, no, it's an orphanage. I'm like, what? How long has it been an orphanage? Like, no, probably since many years ago. I'm like, dog, I went there. I don't remember there being orphans. Like, no, they call them boarders. And I think it helps also just foster that sort of normal relationship between kids.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, guys, check out the GoFundMe for both, Quitch and for Bubelo if you can, and anything that you can put together would be very, very, very appreciated. And with that, we can get on with what we have planned for today. And where we're starting with Mr. Moyo is with Mr. Hopewell. Them loot. In South Africa, it's been a bit of a movie, guys. It's been a bit of a movie. There's a lot going on. Again, this is the first time we've talked about something 3 weeks in a row. As you know, at this point, Zuma, I think he from the last time we and you did this, Zuma had not given himself up, right?
No.
They had just done the big rally in Gandla and all of that. So as of last episode, Zuma's given himself up. He is in jail, if I'm not mistaken. And people took to the streets, the people of KZN, and I'm not sure how many other parts of the country have also taken to the streets. But again, this has now become a multi-layered conversation where, there's been a lot of looting and a lot of destruction of public/private property in specifically KZN right now. And like I said, multi-layered conversation because it's a lot of different things going on, even though obviously the inflection point, what started it all was Zuma being arrested. Ogunye is now, bubbling over in terms of, the looting and stuff like that. It's not really connected, you know what I mean? Like a former president doesn't get arrested and then you guys are like, right, let's loot. You know what I mean? Like it's exploded into a lot of other issues that, the government in South Africa as a whole has been accused of ignoring, a certain demographic of people that have always felt a little bit unseen and marginalized. Just because they don't sound like a certain way, people just kind of pretend they don't exist. And now it's a lot of think pieces on Twitter, and it's a bit of a shit show in the streets and on socials as well. But yeah, Mr. Moy, what's your take on what's going on?
I was actually talking to Nat from Girl in Skies the other day. Shout out to Nat and shout out to Girl in Skies. So she was just asking me, where's all this what's the background behind all of this? And I think when we spoke last week, Tabo, and we were mentioning Guti, we don't just see Zuma going to jail just like that. I don't think me and you could have envisaged this reality that we're in now. So we're recording now on the 13th of July, so it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
And the SA is basically on fire. Buildings are burning down. People are looting everything.
Yeah.
The military's been deployed. So don't be surprised to step out and then you got soldiers all around the streets. My take is the Zuma thing was the catalyst.
Yeah.
But I think over the last year, and probably a bit longer, what you've had is a very frustrated population. I mean, you've got 40-something% unemployment. You've got over 50-something% youth unemployment. It's getting to a point now where you're like, but guys, what's your solution to this? And Cyril, unfortunately, Ramaphosa comes onto TV and he's very robotic and he kind of reads from his iPad or from a prompt and like, infections are up, level 4, no alcohol, no this, no that, stay at home, bye. To the ordinary man, that's already frustrating. And then on top of that, you're going to take my leader, the one that I look up to, the guy that I like, and you're going to throw him in jail.
Yeah.
For a lot of South Africans, that's like, that's the point, that's the tipping point. We just need something to spark a reaction. And I think Zuma's arrest was the catalyst for all the underlying issues with government, the no vaccine, the COVID money's wasted, the lack of a responsiveness, the way that Cyril's also just been a bit, I hate to say this, but he has been very mediocre in his leadership. He doesn't have charisma. He doesn't have the figure that Mandela does. He didn't even have the intelligence that Thabo Mbeki had. And what you have now is the mess that we're in. The videos have been hilarious.
Talk to hi, unjani. Unjani ngwanesu. Yeah, why are you taking these things?
Angithi Zuma uboshiwe kumele bamkhiphe. Kumele bamkhiphe.
Why ufuna bamkhipha?
Like the people coming out, the people coming out with stuff. Like I've seen people walking out of shops with flat screen TVs, 52-inch.
Yeah.
You see people pushing microwaves, and
there was a guy who had it was like a 65-inch or something, and he was trying to put it, you know, that old Corolla land at the port.
Yes, I saw it. Yeah.
And it wouldn't fit. And in my head the whole time, it just reminds me of, you know, when the looting was happening in Bulawayo, and then there was that video of the Queen was struggling, and the guy goes, "Mama tolo kukwanisa." Exactly.
And that's been the issue, right? So they've looted in most malls in the townships, so in Gauteng and in KZN. It started off with trucks that they set alight near the Mooi River, which is close to Durban, on the N3 between Joburg and Durban. So they set those trucks alight, and then it just spread, and now people are just walking into shops literally. The one guy was caught in 4K stealing groceries from Woolies and jumping into his Merc.
Yeah, no, that was okay.
Like, guys, I'm just like, but bruh, like, what's the issue? It's clearly not poverty. You're not hungry. Aulambi. What is it? Is it just?
No, at that point, it's utatega, right? You're taking advantage of the situation where, if you, as part of the looting, let's say they figured out a way to unlock the ATMs, right, or break the ATMs, and now there's 100 rand just there, right? So now you're not really in a looting type of, I want to go and loot, but then if there's 10 stacks right there, you're gonna grab them. Right? So I think there's people like that at the end of the day where it's like, I wasn't really pressed for this, but Woolies was open. So I went in and I grabbed whatever I needed to grab and I left. Right? I think but that was a very small percentage of people who just kind of took advantage of the situation. And there's a lot of conversations where, like, even when I started talking about this, I was saying, which kuna that lower middle class pants, you know, that segment of the population is a very, very large population, or a large percentage of the population in South Africa. And a lot of those people are in positions where they're literally living in poverty. And all of these arguments that you will see on Twitter, people, oh, guys, don't loot, small businesses, this, like all this other stuff, right? It's all the middle to upper class who are tweeting all of this kind of shit. And it's like, okay, you're being a bit tone deaf to, yes, these people are looting. Yes, we get it. But why, right? And it's sort of, they have become the villains. No, these guys don't understand. They're just destroying property and what, and then this is why prices are gonna go up. Whatever the hell, you know, all of those kind of things. But it's like, yeah, these people have been crying, and if they don't loot and if they don't act out like this, you don't care, right? No one is really tweeting and thinking and talking about this part of the population. If everything is fine, right? Before Zuma got or handed himself over to the police, nobody said shit about them. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then this happens, and then everyone now is like, because now they've put themselves front and center, now you can't shy away from it, and now you have to have that conversation. But people are still not really having the right conversation, which is like, okay, for this many people to get to this point where they're like, I don't care if it's, you know, Senna's small business and Senna went to Wits and got a degree and started a business and he's really, you know, they don't care. You know, like Senna ain't feeding them, right? And whether it's Senna's business or it's macro, they don't care. For them,
doesn't matter, bro.
Yeah, and people were out there like on some like this doesn't make any sense because you're gonna loot. That stuff is not even gonna last you a month. Hey, what are you gonna do then? And it's like, yeah, but those guys are like, fam.
It will last. There's a picture. I'm not sure if you saw the picture of the 46,000 rand couch that was on sale online. And then there's these women that had it parked outside the Mukukuyabo, and I'm like, guys,
that was really
talk about owning a white elephant.
Yeah, honestly.
But the one question I wanted to ask you, Mr. Maps, and just get your opinion on. So now, because the country has gone into anarchy, following Zuma's arrest, there are then calls, as you'd have seen from that video. There's a video that I shared where the guy said, "Mtetele no Zuma." What's your take? Do you think they should just let him go and then the protests will stop, or that will be probably disastrous?
I think the latter. I think letting Zuma go at this point, it's not about Zuma. I think it's grown beyond this being about Zuma. So therefore, there's two reasons why you can't let Zuma go. One, like I said, this has grown into other things. Two, the other reason you can't let him go is because you have to respect the law, right? It is, yes, a lot of people are disrespecting it and what and getting away with it. But in this particular case, you cannot set a precedent, in my opinion, where if something happens where someone that we love dearly is arrested for whatever reasons, if we just protest enough, he'll be released, right? Even though, yes, Zuma has genuine corruption charges against him. So it's not like this is, an innocent man that they've framed and we all know, this guy is being done dirty. That's a different story.
No, he's very guilty of contempt of court. Like, the corruption things may be argued, but the contempt, he's very guilty of that.
Okay, so he did break the law. At the very least, he broke some laws. At the very least, we can confirm, without a doubt, he broke some laws. So you cannot release him. I think there needs to be, a different way that I think the Zuma thing can be addressed, where, yes, they'll still follow, the due course of the law, but also letting the people know, or having Zuma speak to be like, this ain't it. I think that might be the best way forward, to address that part of it. But again, this is people who have been frustrated by COVID, frustrated by lockdowns, frustrated by just poverty in general, right? COVID aside, just kind of there are no opportunities in the country and you feel unseen. And they've jumped on this moment to be like, right, you know,
Yeah.
let me have my, I'll never ever have a TV and Gaga. And it's not even about having it. They're probably, a lot of those people probably stole them so that they can sell them. You know, I'm going to sell this TV for 20,000 rand, you know, and or maybe even sell it for 10,000 rand, 5,000 rand, or whatever. That's money. I can feed my family, you know. So
Yeah.
for a lot of those people, that's the mentality. And, you know, people want to make it seem like, you know, people are just, no, it's not. Some were grabbing out of greed, right? Like the guy who jumped into his milk with Willie's grocery. That's
With
greed.
the Willie's groceries.
But for a lot of other people, it literally was, today feels like a revolution to me. And I'm going to claim what I believe South Africa owes me right now. You know?
Yeah.
So I think that was most of the mentality that it's blown up into being away and move. And I think we've moved very, very far from Zuma.
And then my other question would be then, what if the violence doesn't stop unless Zuma is released? Like what if it continues? I mean, this is day 2. I suspect that by the end of the week, it would have lost momentum. So by the time people hear this podcast, I do think maybe the looting and the protesting would have stopped. But I stand to be corrected. What if it reaches a situation where it's like there will be no peace unless Zuma is released?
So I think one of the most important things in terms of this whole situation is obviously trying to I guess not keeping a lid on it, but like obviously trying to calm people down and have some sense of normalcy return to the community. But like I said, I don't know. I think if you have Zuma speak against what's going on, and then take it from there, I think that would be the best way. Because right now the people obviously aren't happy with the government, so you can't have Cyril up there because they're not happy with Cyril. You really have to think about, you know, okay, who's the face that we can put there, and it's Zuma. Zuma, you know, love it or hate it. Love it or hate it, Zuma is a Lokuzet. He's Ubab, right? As a lot of people like to say.
This is like when your girlfriend's going through some shit and then her friends are like, call her ex. He's the only one that can calm her down in these instances.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what it will be like. Because
Yeah.
if Cyril lets Zuma take leadership of the situation, even if they say he must release an address via Zoom from prison, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't come out of this looking strong in any way. Like, I feel like this is a sort of critical point in his leadership.
Yeah.
If he lets Zuma and his people dictate how this goes, what's going to happen is it'll be exactly like that. It'll be your girlfriend's crying. She's having issues.
Yeah.
You've done everything. You've told her to calm down. You've called the military. You've done everything to calm her down and say, no, hoba right. And then Bestie comes and says, no, listen, the only person who can help her when she gets like this is the ex. So rather you call the ex to come and do this thing which you're clearly struggling to do.
Yeah.
And the situation will be fine. That will not reflect well on Cyril. I think that will be the end of his presidency or end of any authority he has over the country, which is already questionable. And yeah, so I think I 100% agree with you, by the way. Like, I think releasing Zuma at this point, it'll set a precedence if we complain and riot hard enough and loot enough, then we get everything wherever. You don't need that in a society. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
Either way,
it'll be a disaster.
Yeah. Either way, Zuma comes out of this looking like a boss.
Yeah.
In any event, he serves his time. He comes out. He'll get a hero's welcome as the guy who complied with the court order. If he addresses the people, he comes out great as the guy who still has significant power over the population. If he just does nothing, still fine. He's he's one. I was telling Nat earlier that, bro, they should have just left him alone.
Yeah.
Leave the old man in Gandla to live out his days.
Yeah.
You don't need to come after him with our warrants and state commission. Just let him die with the secrets. The same way Mnangagwa let Mugabe just go chill in his house there and just don't bother him.
Especially because, again, Zuma knows where a lot of the dead bodies are buried, right? Metaphorically. And it's just one of those things where it doesn't make sense.
Maybe even literally.
Yeah, probably literally. And again, we're Sidla Sonke, bro. Like, it doesn't make sense for me to now jump on my moral high horse and be like, no, the law must be respected. Hey, what? Kanti, you know? I was with it. And I'm still with it, you know? Like, this money, in the last year, the COVID fund, Zuma has nothing to do with that. He ain't chowing that money, right? But clearly, it got spread around somehow. So it's just, and even if that's not the case, a lot of the country feels that way, right? And it's just, you know, for you guys to now then pick this moment, they didn't read the room, you know, they picked the wrong moment to try and, the law, nah, man, this is not the time. And
it isn't.
People are frustrated by a lot of stuff that has not gone the way it should have gone in South Africa, and for you to pick someone who has so much cachet publicly, it was a recipe for disaster, you know. But again, I guess we'll have to keep an eye on the situation.
Where do you think we'll be in a week?
I think it's gonna die down. I think they'll have to figure out something. Either it dies down naturally or something else happens. But my bet is I don't think it gets worse. I don't think. By the time that we record the next episode next week, I think, things will be dying down.
It would have peaked already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where I see it. But yeah, obviously, part 4 next week we'll
the Zuma saga.
Yeah, part 4 of the Zuma saga next week. We'll reassess and see what's going on. But yeah, with that we can move into the rundown. And in the rundown, obviously, you guys know it's the part of the show where we're gonna run through a couple of topics that don't need the full dissertation, but wait, this is Nyana, I don't even think that makes sense, but whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let me see. Right. Another thing that trended a little bit towards the end of last week was, another think piece where an individual was essentially trying to equate the game of 30 seconds to a lot of classism that goes on. And, obviously social media had a bit of a party with that in terms of jokes. But do you feel like there was any credence to what she was saying?
I was conflicted on that. I think I flip-flop between both parties. And that's just in the sense that I think 30 seconds doesn't need you. Because I think she mentioned something about how in order to be good at 30 seconds, there's a classist thing which requires access to certain information, which you may not have if you are, probably coming from a low-income household who maybe didn't have DSTV and stuff like that. But I've played South African 30 seconds, and it's not specific to DSTV stuff. Of course, there may be cards that are a bit harder than the others. But I've recognized that the general format of 30 seconds is that 3 of the answers on the cards are easy and the other 2 are difficult. Yeah. Yeah. So it's up to you to try and at least get the 3. That's what I always say whenever I play with my friends. I'm always like, at least get 3. Because I know that on the card, at least 3 are doable. So this hand then went on to say that it's classism in the sense that if we equate being good at 30 seconds to or intelligence or any of these other things, it's problematic, here's that word again, because there's some classism involved. I don't agree personally, because I am of the view 100% that 30 seconds is like general knowledge. It's stuff that I think a reasonable person in society is expected to know.
I think, yeah, maybe, and then someone will look at you and be like, "Yeah, Senna, that's you talking from privilege because what we don't all have access to the same resources." But I mean, again, I agree with you obviously in the sense that I don't think I was torn at all. I thought that was her post was, I was like, that's just someone looking for clout.
We're trying to make everything deep.
Yeah, it's like, nah, this one is not deep, like you said. On average, I've played 30 seconds. I think 30 seconds is just a South African game. I don't know. I think there's just a UK version, there's an SA version, and that's it. But yeah, obviously the 30 seconds that I have is the SA one, and I've played it with non-Africans, right? People they have no clue, really, when it comes to Africa, damn, right? And even with them, they were able to score pretty well, generally speaking, 2 to 3. Because there's stuff about America. There'll be a Miley Cyrus on there. There'll be
a Lionel Richie.
Yeah, there'll be a Lionel Richie. There'll be a whatever it might be, a Kanye West or Las Vegas or like all these things where it's like, come on, anyone at some point, like you go to someone on the street and you just say Michael Jordan. They know who Michael Jordan is.
Yeah,
right.
Don't need to have had DSTV to know who Michael Jordan is.
Don't. And then of course there's other ones where obviously if you're from Southern Africa, if it's ANC, I think there's Mugabe on there. There's Winnie Mandela, Nelson Mandela. There's certain ones where it's like, okay, so my non-African friends who I've played with.
No, they still have to know that. You cannot know who Winnie Mandela is at your big age.
No. Like it's literally.
No.
I know on one of the cards it says Winnie Madikizela Mandela, and it's like there's no way I would expect one of my American friends to know that.
No, dog, it's just history.
No. Now you are being. She was talking about niggas history. Like you.
No, it's history. Dog,
it's not
are you telling
history,
me
Senna.
if a card came up and it like shows off gobbles? I ain't seen this nigga on DSTV.
Senna, okay, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
When was the Declaration of Independence signed in America? What year?
I have no idea.
Exactly. So Senna, that's also basic history. Why don't you know that?
Because I don't know it. I'm not going to know everything. And that's my point, right? There's a certain standard in society which we are sort of expected to know.
But when you're acting like knowing Winnie Mandela's middle name, which I had no freaking clue until I played 30 seconds.
You said Winnie Madikizela Mandela.
Yeah,
Madikizela
obviously I played.
Are you telling me if I said Winnie Mandela, you wouldn't be able to put that together and say, oh, Mandela's wife?
No, I would. But then on the card, it's Winnie Madikizela Mandela. That's what you have to get the person to say on the 30 seconds game, right? And that's not something that I'd ever look at someone who is not from SA and roll my eyes and be like, nigga, what the hell?
No, it's fine. I think
rolling
it's okay.
Your eyes and I'm shocked. Like, why are you rolling your eyes, bro? Like, if you, again, one day I'll have you play 30 seconds. When you come to Dubai, I'll have you play 30 seconds and I'll invite friends who are not from Africa and you'll be shocked. Things like ANC. Like, I had a friend who was like, what the hell is the African National Congress?
You can ask me the equivalent. You can ask me the equivalent in an American context and say, who's the leader of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party? It's one of those things where I'm not saying that everyone...
about the Declaration of Independence and you said you didn't know. If I ask an American about that, they know exactly when it was.
But if I ask an American when's the Freedom Day in South Africa, he's not going to know that.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. Now, there's two very different points there.
You are tripping off the Winnie Mandela thing saying that's general knowledge. It's not.
Because I think it's things that we're expected. I think there's certain stuff we're expected to know in society. Everyone.
Senna, who is we?
Everybody.
You're mad.
How? No, dog.
You're actually mad.
Are you telling me if you got a card right now and that had Bob Marley on it?
Yes.
You wouldn't be able to anyone. I would expect all of my friends to at least know who that is. Are you
seriously comparing knowing Winnie Mandela to Bob Marley?
Nelson Mandela. Are you telling me if you read Winnie and you read Mandela, you wouldn't be able to conclude that that's Nelson Mandela's wife? Come on.
If I'm not Southern African, it's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee.
I think we now in this very oversensitive society that we live in now, we are struggling and we are rushing to make too many excuses for things which I am of the view that are a basic expectation of society.
So okay, hold on.
There's certain
Let me make sure I have you correctly. What you are saying as Senami Somoy is that knowing the full name of Nelson Mandela's wife
Tabo, are you telling me you
is
could
a
not?
basic expectation of society. No. Senna, you can't look at me though.
If you read Winnie Mandela, anyone in the world who knows Nelson Mandela.
No, but
if you're telling me if you read Winnie Mandela,
it's
you
like you're
wouldn't be able
judging
to
me. It's like you're judging. No, it's not me
it's
who's
not
on
you.
trial. Yeah,
It's not you, but anyone. Are you telling me if they
No,
read
it's not
Winnie
anyone.
Mandela?
No.
You can't answer that and say, "Oh, Nelson Mandela's wife."
Nah. I'd be impressed
Dog.
if you were a friend, like if you were like I have a friend from the UK, right? If he got it full name, I'd be very impressed with him. I'd clap hands, be like, fantastic. This is
Not even full name. And I'm like, dog, Winnie.
even knowing that it's Winnie Mandela, I would be
She
impressed.
literally walked out holding his hand when he was released from prison.
So,
Dog.
okay, you need to leave Southern Africa. I think that's the problem. You need to leave
Maybe,
Southern Africa
maybe.
and be
But-
around
but-
people who, and you'd be shook how much
No,
people
but
don't, and
that's
how
what-
much you don't know about the rest of the world.
True. And that's why when you asked me the question about the American Declaration of Independence, I was like, I don't know that. I don't know
Exactly.
the specific date.
But
I may
then,
have an
like
idea.
I said, someone will look at you.
But
and
I'm
be
not
like,
gonna
"Senna,
guess."
How it's a basic expectation of the world for you to know when the Declaration of Independence was. Who's
But I think that's-
Benedict
I
Arnold?
think-
What
I
is
think-
he famous
but I
for?
think
when,
that particular
when did
question
Abraham
is-
Lincoln die? All this
But
random stuff.
I think that particular question is at a different level.
No, it's not.
I think
It's
it
really
is.
not.
I think it really is. And I think if we're looking at that tweet, I would be like, no, bruh, like, come on, we should definitely expect people to know certain stuff.
What we have learned today, ladies and gentlemen, is that Senna is that classist asshole.
It's not even classist. It's like, guys,
I said I know, bro. When we played 30 seconds, wasn't your team wounded even? Like, I'm trying to remember because it was such a long time ago. Since you're all up high and mighty, I think you were even on the losing team, Senna, if I'm not mistaken.
might have been. But that one day we played, I think I was in a shit team, by the way. But
Subtweeting.
no. So there's two layers, 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that I will 100% accept and one that I will 100% reject. The
Okay.
one that I will 100% accept is that some people aren't as good at answering the questions under pressure. And some people have stage fright and some people can't articulate themselves in a proper way. I
Yes.
can accept that all day long because I think that is it's a personality trait, and we're just different as people, right? Mm-hmm. But there's certain things that I would expect you to know. Tabo, if I ask you Oscar Pistorius, like, bro.
Again, Senna, you don't look at me. Generally speaking, Oscar is not as big in the rest of the world
But
as
that's
you
the good
think.
thing. The good thing is the cards are always adapted in a nice way. There's 3 easy questions, and like I said, there's 3 and there's 2 difficult ones.
But this is all relative. And anyway, I'm glad that I know Uti Senna is this, and everybody now knows Senna has exposed himself to be a classist.
You like trying to put me across as a villain in your life. It's not the case.
Because you
No,
are.
it's not.
No. After that Winnie Mandela shit,
can't.
I know for a fact that you are. You had so
Nah,
many
Jack.
opportunities to take it back, and
To
you
take
didn't.
what back?
You doubled down.
Are you telling
Winnie-
me we can't
Winnie Mandela is not general
reasonably
knowledge.
expect?
No, absolutely not.
Winnie.
I would be hoping.
Nah.
I really. Like,
I think in terms
for anyone who
in
is
terms
not
of general knowledge, we need to have a certain expectation. Not everything. Like obviously you can't know everything.
privilege.
It's not
That's
even. It's not
honestly.
even. I think
yes,
you're now
it's privilege.
playing to the gallery. You're now playing.
Ngoba wena wafunde Whitestone subona ngani everyone had Reader's Digest in
Man,
their houses.
now, when I tell you, I think you'd make a very good sympathy politician. Guys, vote for me over here. These ones are oppressing me. No, I'm just making a point. Uguti, guys. Ultimately,
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
I'm the people's champion, bro.
I'm just saying,
Quick one.
ultimately, at the end of the
fact.
day,
I actually used to sit in primary school. I used to go to the library and I'd go through. We had like what? How many encyclopedias? Like 12? A bunch of them.
there was
And I'd
one
go
to
through
something.
page by page and I'd just read all of that because it was so fascinating to me, and also read the Guinness Book of Records and but again, not everyone goes to a school where they have libraries where all of that is readily available.
100%.
So don't be a classist, Mr. Moy.
No. How is that linked to classism?
It is, because again,
How?
us
What's
having
the causal
access
nexus between what I said and classism?
Hey,
I've
slow
not causal
down,
nexus
SAT,
between
okay?
the two.
Listen,
What I said was there
It's
should
about
be,
access,
in
isn't
general. No, regardless of access, in general in society, there are things that I think everyone should be expected to know, regardless of your background.
So okay, fine. Regardless of society, how is an individual meant to know? And again, I might still be wrong, but that the longest snake on Earth, or the biggest snake on Earth,
You see,
is an anaconda.
you see, Tab, what you're doing is you're asking questions which are at a higher level to
It's
an
not a
argument
higher
I'm trying to
level.
have at a basic level.
Okay,
Because
fine.
I'm saying there's no wait. I'm saying there's a
Where
basis.
is the Amazon River?
Wait,
Do you think? I think that's a lot simpler
I'm
than
saying there's a
freaking
basic.
Winnie Mandela.
I'm saying there's a basis. It's in South America. I'm saying there's a basis with
No, I
which
wasn't asking you
information
that
which we
seriously.
expect.
All I'm saying is
no. But that's what I'm saying, right? There's a
Yeah.
basis of information which I believe, and I am of the view that everyone should know. Obviously, it's not everything. You'll
and
get
you
some things
include
wrong.
Winnie Mandela in that basis. Again, I'm agreeing with
do.
your premise, but what you're actually putting,
No. When are you
of
then-
general knowledge,
Wait,
I'm
exactly.
agreeing with you. There is a box of certain
Right.
things, no matter what, that we just know as human beings. But what you're
Exactly.
now putting in that box is where I'm debating with that. No, certain things, yeah.
No.
Nah.
But that's where I'm also like, no, you then can't take certain questions and also put them in that box because they're at a higher level. And I think Winnie Mandela falls in that basic level. The moment you say Mandela, are you telling me people can't say Mandela's wife, Winnie? The woman who walked out holding his hand. The woman who was probably more inspirational in the South African Revolution than the man himself was.
Yes.
And that's where I'm like, no, I think Winnie falls in the basic stuff. Now, I don't see how it links to the classism thing you're going on about. I think you're just
So now,
but
what's
it
the
doesn't.
biggest? What's the question? What's the biggest tribe in Nigeria?
No idea. Yoruba,
Exactly.
Igbo.
Probably the Yorubas. I'm actually not even 100% sure. But anyway,
Between the
my
two.
point
But
is,
that's not
we
information
don't
that
even know
everyone.
that.
Yeah, but that's not information that falls into the basic stuff that everyone should know, Tab.
Again, maybe
It's
there's
not.
there's guys who have a Nigerian podcast or their version of 6 foot weights who are there like, I can't believe people don't know the fact that the dominant tribe are the Yorubas, or shit like that. It's all relative at the end of the day. And that's what I'm saying. Be careful with what you're assuming is no knowledge. That's all that I'm saying, Senna. Just be careful.
But
just
you
don't-
agree with what I said.
I'm agreeing with a lot of what you're saying.
Sanjay, why
All I'm
were you
saying
now
is
going on
because you were
on
sounding like a
celebrity?
bully. Okay?
No.
Yes.
I just said, my sentence was, and I started with saying, I'm like, no, but we should not depart from the fact that there is a basic set of things that I think we should expect people to know.
Do you know what you
and
did?
we should not. No,
You know
and
what
I
you
remember
did?
I said we should not depart from that and just say, because we're now living in a society that's hypersensitive, depart from that and just think everything is offensive because I was. No, there will be stuff that you don't know, even in the basic stuff. But a 30 seconds card comes with 5 answers, of which you're probably only allowed to have 3.
Anyway,
Nah,
guys, you guys sort yourselves. Others, please let us know that was I putting Senna in the corner, or am I correct in saying Senna is a classist asshole and never play 30 seconds with this guy? Otherwise, Senna really is the type of guy that if you fucked around in 30 seconds, he would dump you. He really is that type of guy. I'm seeing it now. That I'm even bummed to be on his team now because I'm like, this might shake the friendship.
Not even. And Shem, I'm the nicest guy when it comes. I'm very patient and I'm like, you don't know the answer. It's fine.
Nah. I'm not.
No, you have to
Personally,
be. And like I said,
No,
I think
you
there's other things that come
don't be
into it.
dwas.
Right?
I don't like dwas people on my team.
But it's not about
I don't
being-
like dumb people.
It's not about being dumb. Some
It
people can
is.
articulate
No.
their thoughts quicker than others.
True, but then again, usually
So it's
when
not
I play
about
30
knowledge,
seconds,
it's
I
just-
know the characters that I'm with, right? So obviously, if you're one of those, we have a colleague at work. We played it at work with my team, and we have a colleague who she is exactly what you said. She's shy and she's not she knows a lot of the stuff, right? That would be on the card. So after someone yells time,
Is she one of those who she gets the call and she's like, that guy.
exactly. So she would start and like literally for 15 seconds, and then by the time someone calls time, right, we look at the card and it's like it's basic stuff, right, that she knows. Not Uguti she didn't know. She knows it, but she froze, right? So for people like that, I would never ever look at her and I'd be like, hey, you know what I mean? But for
That's
people
exactly
like
what I said.
but for the centers of the world, I'm saying, me as Utawu, I have no sympathy at all for the centers of the world. If center's fucking up in 30 seconds, I will call you out, I will chew you out, and I will never ever have you on my team again. That's what I'm saying. I don't tolerate nonsense. I mean, I don't want that. It's nah. Anyway, let's move on. This this rundown is a long item. It's an Amazon River. Anyway, so let's touch really quickly on breadcrumbing. Senna found out a term this week, and it's called breadcrumbing. Personally, I don't know. I'd never heard of it before. So, Mr. Moyo, can you break it down?
So it was something that I came across on Twitter. I think Tando tweeted this, retweeted it if I'm not mistaken. But someone did. One of the girls that I follow tweeted it. But it basically was a tweet that said, there's this thing that men do where when they don't want you anymore, they start not responding to your texts. They start not taking your calls. They're always busy. And you can feel a certain kind of withdrawal. They don't pay attention. It's one-word answers. They're just disinterested. And it's the most... But when you ask them what's up, and he always says everything is fine. This woman called it the biggest mindfuck of all time. And then I read through the comments, and then women were commenting. They're like, oh yeah, it's called breadcrumbing. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And a lot of women were giving like their testimonies of instances where they've been through breadcrumbing, Tabo, they're in a relationship.
Say something real quick? When you did write that in your notes, I honestly thought this was something sexual. Like in my mind, I was like, "What wild move is this?" You know,
your mind is always is always in the gutter.
I literally looked at it and I was like, breadcrumbing. You know, like I was like, nah, it has to be sexual. Like, so now I'm imagining, like, what can people do with breadcrumbs? I really didn't know what messed up thing you were about to tell me, but then when you actually told me what it is, I was like, oh, it makes sense. It makes absolute sense, but like, my mind was never gonna go there. But anyway, continue with your explanation.
But anyway, so breadcrumb is actually defined formally. So I'm looking at the comments, I look online, and then it actually has a definition. It's called someone who breadcrumbs you, leads you on by dropping small morsels of interest, an occasional message, a phone call, a date plan, a social media interaction. If it's someone you're in a relationship with, he'll randomly say, I love you, or they'll give you those sporadic instances or moments of affection. These usually happen sporadically, but they don't have any follow through, and you're back to the bare minimum. Hey, hi, text where you can see that someone, is not really interested in you anymore. And I found that interesting because a lot of women said they've gone through it, and a lot of guys were just like, oh, I don't know, it's a thing. And then there was another guy who said, well, umfazi kayalwa. And I'm like, oh, okay. Have you ever come across that, Tabo?
Nah. And if I did that to someone and I'm out here being like, nah, my bad. But like, no, I genuinely don't remember. I don't think I don't think I'm that type of person where you know, I think if I'm out, then I'm just kind of out. But if I'm in. Like, unless again we're fighting, obviously that's a different story, right? But this just kind of sounds like, you know, the relationship is fine, the girl thinks everything is okay, and the guy is just kind of on his way out or whatever, just being a dick. So yeah, no, it's I couldn't even breadcrumb properly, to be honest, if I tried. I'd be called out.
Apparently it's an act of giving crumbs, right? You're just giving a little, or even if you're macking on someone or someone is macking on you, and if you're macking on someone, they're giving you the little, you know, you post a story on IG and then they comment with the heart emoji, or
but that's what I'm saying. I can't do the
bare minimum.
I can't. It's either I'm there and you know I'm there, not. Or you know Velo Uti, you know, Tabo is like he's a fringe guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. The girl is never of the impression that, oh, there's a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like I wouldn't know how to do that, because for me, you know, I'm either very present or I'm just not present, and I'm not. I don't hide about the fact that I genuinely don't care, you know, or I'm not interested in you in that way. So it's either or for me. So for me, this is definitely no, you know, people that have been through that, done that, and stuff like that. But like, it doesn't work for me, bro.
Like you said, if there's anyone that I've ever breadcrumbed, guys, get police. But nah, Jack. I'm always saying Pumilentweni. I always say to people, guys, you know, please excuse me from this situation. Or whatever. But it's interesting how women are very aware of this, but men seem almost oblivious to it. The other thing is, there's a guy who said umfazi kayalwa, which is you don't dump a woman. A woman is the one who has to say it's over. Do you believe in that, Tab?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe in that. I think because now I'm wasting my time hoping that you're gonna dump me, and what if I happen to be with the biggest believer of all time, who's gonna be like, no, I can change, Tao. Nah, fam. Then I'm stuck with you for God knows how long. Nah.
Yeah. Someone says, let's make it work when your foot is already out the door.
I will liberate myself with the swiftness.
Okay.
At the end of the day, if I'm not trying to be there, then nah. Easily, I'll be out.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I'm more the same. I think if I'm out, I'll always say ngiyabonga, thank you. If I'm in, you always know that I'm in. I don't think there's an in between.
Mr. Boy.
No, I'm like in between. I don't have an in between, Shem.
Okay. Hi.
Yes.
Good right. I think we can move on to Siyazama. And Siyazama is the part of the podcast where if you have any questions, any points of order, anything that you'd like us to discuss on the podcast, feel free to add us and let us know. Either email us at 6footweights at gmail.com, or you can add us on Twitter at 6footweights, 6 the number FT weights, and DM us on Twitter. Come tell us your story. We love to interact with the listeners of the podcast. Also, I saw on the email that we can see the names of people who have subscribed. So that was cool. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, again, it's just the name on an email. There's nothing else that I have, but I was chuffed. Like, all right, that's dope. Thank you. But anyway, in terms of the first Siyazama, it's a brother who, I don't know, I feel like we had something similar some weeks ago, maybe last year. But anyway, he's come back and he's like, gents, not the same person, but this guy said, gents, I am a person that enjoys getting head, but my partner is not very, very good at it. She tends to use her teeth.
Oh, we definitely had something similar last year, but except it was the other way around.
Oh yeah, it was the biting. It was niggas biting the clip.
It was niggas biting the clip.
yes. Niggas was out here biting the ting, you know. So yeah, apparently, you know, this queen is not. She's not doing the needful, and you know, Amazinho guys. Yeah, no. It's not either way, whether it's a man or a woman, like, you know what I mean, like
keep teeth away from the things, guys.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Hey,
it's sensitive equipment. So anyway, he says Guti, he's had that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's agreed, but really nothing has changed.
Ish.
So now
what? This is difficult. You know, the siyazamas that are difficult are the ones where you've never seen yourself in that situation ever, like envisage yourself in it, and one where you've never actually gone through it. So those two are always difficult. But I think for my brother there is to just communicate again. Yeah. Otherwise there won't be a resolution. Be like, yo, babe, remember last time we spoke about that? At least he's opened the case to like chat about stuff like that, which is like the first step is always the most difficult one. So once you've had that chat, to be like, yo, listen, my baby, when you involve teeth in these things, it doesn't do properly. You can then say, listen, babe, we spoke about it last time, but just maybe next time we do the things just kancane.
I think again, if you've already spoken once and nothing is changing, you might need to just sort of make in-game adjustments and coach in the game, if you understand what I'm saying.
During the thing.
Yeah, during the thing, you know, mkuze once or twice and be like, be like, hey, chief, you know, you're doing, because maybe, to credit to her, maybe she doesn't feel it or know or whatever the case is, right? So maybe it might just be a case of like, yeah, during the thing, you know, when you feel it, you're like, hey, you know, that right there.
Listen, just. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at least to the left, you know.
In the moment,
unhook
people are
jaw,
still,
you know.
unhook your jaw.
Yeah. You know, like how like snakes can, you know, unhook the and unless I have for the day, if there's nothing that she can do, to be honest, then it's like she must just look at the guy and be like we don't have the capacity.
Side note, I once got a question from a listener of the pod a while back. It didn't make it to Siyazama. I don't know why. But they were just asking Guti, what if your person doesn't want to do those things at all?
Then it's late. Find another person. Or
hey, Tabo, that's the solution.
Yeah, it's either you say goodbye to the thing that you like, or you find another person, as in leave the current one and find another person, if it's that important to you. It's very simple, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that one is very easy. It's very easy.
Okay.
Anyway, Mr. Moy, do you have a second one?
Yeah, I do. So I do. Just one from a female listener. Hey fam, hope you can answer this on your platform. Wagwan. So this lady is asking, I've been seeing this guy for a while, dating, kumnandi, you know, all the good stuff, but he doesn't satisfy me the way that I need to be.
What kind of satisfaction is this?
This is obviously sexually. Sexually, this person's clearly not satisfied. And I am considering cheating. C word. But the actual question that this person is asking is, do you think that people in relationships can actually... This is a form of gaslighting that this person is trying, and I can see it. Can you, in a relationship, push someone to cheat on you? So that is someone cheats on you, but you're at fault for their cheating. Is it ever... I guess the question is it ever okay to blame...
So like a you made me cheat type of situation.
Yeah, you made me cheat type of situation. Is there ever an instance where you can make someone else cheat? I don't think there is.
And you know, women are wicked. you might find this chica. She's asking you this question and she's sending it as a Amakanti. Her gent also is a listener of the podcast. So my guy, if you're listening and this is your sub, come through and tune us, bro. If it happens to you, or just be on the alert with your person, maybe you might wanna, just be on the lookout, because hey, shit is wild out here, bro. Shit is wild, But anyway, to answer the question,
can you ever be to blame for someone else cheating?
Never. Never. No matter what, because again, what we always say is, Oksalayo, you had the opportunity, or she has the opportunity to leave the guy. He's not forcing her, right? She's not a hostage in that relationship. So right now, she has the power to say, hey guy, you know what, sex means a lot to me, and you're not doing things right. We've tried to fix it, but it's not working. Therefore, I feel like I need to be with someone else. It's gonna hurt, but it's gonna hurt a lot less than if she cheats. She's gonna feel like shit, and there's a chance that he might find out, and then that's gonna be a movie, and whatever. So I am of the firm belief that she should not cheat, and she should just leave. And there's no way you cannot. The victim will never be to blame, because before you did what you did, ample opportunity to either fix it or leave.
I 100% agree with you. I think there's many solutions to things before cheating, guys. Like, I think there's many resolutions, there's many options you have before you decide to outsource services. This is 6 foot weights. We don't condone cheating here, guys. So we'll always say, work on your issues, resolve your things first and foremost before anything.
Hallelujah. Thank God. No, for real. Don't do that. It just makes things complicated. So Sena, tell that listener what you know. We said, nah, don't do it. First of all, kings don't deserve to be done like that, secondly, but no, on a serious note, the maths will never add up. So, have the conversation with the guy, and if it doesn't work, leave it, find another person who can do you right and live a happy life, and set the brother free.
I don't have any other siyasama. That's it from me, Mr. Maps.
Okay, fantastic. It's been another good episode. Good people. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you were able to take away 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 6 things from the podcast. As you know, like the ting, retweet the ting, and subscribe to the ting. Otherwise, we will believe that you are a hater. Mr. Moyo, later.
Laters.